Okay, how's it going, everyone? My name's Militia, and welcome back to the Subspace Station podcast. We're here today on the first official... No, we're not going to talk about that. We're here on the first official episode. I'm here today with my co-host, as always, RJ Royal, a.k.a. Danny Boy, a.k.a. the Rolling Jewel Royal. I don't know. I couldn't think of anything better.
Did you say the Golden Jew? I'm not even...
Rolling Jewel. Jewel. Like, you know the thing you vape, Daniel?
Dude, I stopped vaping.
Did I talk about your vaping? No, I did not talk about your bad habits. And we're here with our guest as our first guest of the podcast, my lovely girlfriend, Marissa.
The owner of your channel?
Yes, the owner of my channel, the lovely Marissa, a.k.a. the XX Multimedia Chick X, whatever the fuck her name is. She
owns all this man's belongings.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah. And today, I apologize for the large delay on the episodes here. So there were a couple of things that just sort of happened that have affected all of our lives that have just been able to not allow us to get together and record. But finally, on a couple days before Thanksgiving, we're here talking about our October episode. So let's do this.
And I asked him if he wanted to combine them.
No, we're not talking about Thanksgiving. I didn't want to talk about Thanksgiving on the November podcast, and that's not what we're doing. This probably won't even come out till December, to be totally honest with you. I hope you guys are also enjoying what I'm hoping is the GIF that I have made for the podcast. But anyway, though, let's jump into our first topic here. This is sort of a timely thing that we can do. Yes, this entire episode is going to be focused specifically on slasher films, again, because we were going to record this in October. That's also why I brought on my girlfriend, because she is our resident slasher horror fan.
I have met two famous horror icons. At least I can go down in history saying that.
That is true. So today, though, our first topic we're going to talk about is the upcoming Blumhouse Productions picture Black Christmas, which is a remake of not only the 2006 movie, but the original what year was it again?
It was 1974.
That's why I thought the movie sounded familiar. I had a feeling it was a remake upon a remake. I knew they were going to do that bullshit again.
So essentially, if you guys don't know what the original Black Christmas is, it is a 1974 slasher film that actually inspired most of the slasher film genre to this day. You know, with the classic horror-based, holiday-based killings, the unseen man behind the mask. Actually, there actually wasn't a mask in the original film, but there was just a lot of tropes that carried over into the probably what most people consider the first holiday slasher film, Halloween. And they've just decided
I'll be honest, I never saw it.
Yeah, no,
neither
have I.
If you ask me, I think the only reason that it sparked a lot of people to make the more slasher films is just given the fact that just by looking off the trailer, the original Black Christmas just looks god-awful.
Oh, I mean, say,
but there were a lot
of ideas.
Well, there was a lot of great concepts there that do carry over.
There was. I just feel like their execution wasn't the best. No offense to the director, Bob Clark has done some pretty decent things. I mean, he's known for A Christmas Story. He's known.
Which one? There's like 40 of them.
1983 version.
I don't remember which one that is. I only know the Muppets one.
He has 30 director credits. I'm looking at his IMDb page, which include Dead of Night, which sounds like another horror movie in itself, I believe, right?
It is. Probably. I'm not quite sure on that. Don't quote me on that.
And of course, his most recent, last film he's directed was Blonde and Blonder in 2007.
Blonde and Blonder?
That sounds like a lot of people I know.
Yep. He directed the original Black Christmas. So it was written by Roy Moore as a screenplay with their cat.
That's not important, though. The original one's not what we want to talk about today.
I know, but I just want to explain the storyline first.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so it based off of taken from IMDb. It's time for a Christmas break. The Sorority sisters make plans for the holidays, but the strange anonymous phone calls are beginning to put them on edge.
This is the new one? or the old one?
This is the plot of the 1974 one.
I'm gonna assume it's the typical cliche where it's a bunch of sorority girls in a fucking house in the middle of nowhere where it's like snowing because it's Christmas time and they're trying to fuck, and then all of a sudden there's a fucking serial killer that's like, ooh, let me just peep out in the bushes right quick. Oh, are they fucking? Oh, great time to stab. All right, fucking go.
Yeah.
So this new movie is very similar to the original.
It's right now that I'm reading this. Yes, it is. So when one of the sisters, Claire, disappears, they contact the police. They don't express much concern. Meanwhile, Jess is planning to get an abortion, but boyfriend, believe it or not, Peter, is very much against it. The police finally begin to get concerned when a 13-year-old girl is found dead in the park, and they set a wiretap in the sorority house.
I thought they were sorority sisters. Why is she 13?
No. They found a 13-year-old. A 13-year-old girl was killed nearby. That's why. So they set up a wiretap in the sorority house, but will they be in time to prevent the sorority girl attrition problem?
I don't think so.
Can someone tell me what attrition means, please? I am stupid.
I really don't know, to be totally honest.
I don't know. I just assumed that was another word for hazing process. I don't know.
So carrying over now to the new Black Christmas. This one looks to be more of like a slashy, dashy sort of like your classic like movie that Blumhouse would make.
Only one type of formula to follow for those types of movies.
Well, no, but it's got a lot of Blumhouse. It's got a lot of Blumhouse in it now, which is perfectly fine because Blumhouse has made some.
To be honest, Blumhouse had to make the most 2019 slasher film to appeal to all of the fucking millennials.
Pretty much, yeah. No, I agree on that. It does look very not appealing, I would say. But
oh my God, Becky's dead! Oh my God, no! Who's gonna tell Linda? Oh no! Oh fuck!
Yeah, credit to the director of the new remake, Sophia Takal. She also has 30 credits, which is
Sophia Takal is a really great director. Honestly, I will say the film is in good hands with that.
All I know is this: if it does better than Charlie's Angels remake, then we're going somewhere.
Oh, don't get me started on that.
Well, some of her directing credits. Actress credits. I'm sorry, she has 5 directors credits, which includes Into the Dark, Always Shine, Green, and Fat Friend. So, and I believe most of those did pretty well.
Oh my God, I know what that last movie is. The movie
Fat Friend? It was a short film.
Yeah, that movie relates to my life. Literally, they went over the rules of the designated fat friend, and I'm like,
is it that movie? Is it that one?
It's that movie.
Oh, I remember that from like a couple of years ago.
So now that sorry.
Explaining to her the fucking rules of you're the designated fat friend, and then you're like, oh no.
Don't they end up fucking in the end or something? I don't know.
I don't know. I never saw it. I don't know.
So this is the storyline. The storyline read section is much shorter than the one for the 1974 version. Mm-hmm. This is what the 2019 one says. It says, Hawthorne College is quieting down for the holidays. One by one, sorority girls on campus being killed by an unknown stalker. But the killer is about to discover that this generation's young women aren't willing to become hapless victims as they mount a fight to the finish. So that's all.
Yeah, they're going to mount, all right. But they shit to the finish.
See,
say it.
I feel like with this movie, they're trying to do more of a classic 2019 trope. I feel like, which is a large amount of women empowerment, which is perfectly fine.
Right away, I can see some character differences in this. A different character name, Peter in this one.
I want to watch the other one now. Just so I can say that.
Don't get an abortion, Marissa. Damn it.
Clarify for anybody that's watching.
We're not pregnant. Don't worry. We're not pregnant.
I would kill myself if I was. Anyway.
All right. Anyway. So, what do we do? What do we think of the movie, though? Do we think this movie looks good, or do we think this movie looks?
I think it looks good. I think it's something that might do well. I mean, technically, here's how I look on it. When I look at many horror films that are made nowadays, they're all just made by template, and there's nothing original about them whatsoever. Given the fact that this is a remake of a classic, I surprisingly did pretty well. I never mentioned this, but it had a 7.5 out of 10 on IMDb.
What, the original
which
one?
is the original one, yeah. Which was kind of shocking to me when I saw its trailer.
Well, it's because it's a cult classic at this point. It's honestly more of a cult classic film.
It's like, for me, For me, I can't really give a proper opinion because I've seen so many different types of horror films throughout my life, and I'm extremely desensitized at this point. So, I mean, like, there's still a possibility, though, that it could do really badly, because not every remake, does well.
And considering this year for remakes has been very, very brutal. I mean, look at
Yeah.
Look at the Terminator movies, the Charlie's Angels movies, like you said before, babe. All these movies, while they are somewhat commercial successes review-wise, that's backwards. Some of these are review-wise very good. Like the Terminator movie did really good critically.
No, but some of them are hit or miss, though. Like, people are going to go see the new Terminator one because of nostalgia purposes.
And plus, Linda Hamilton came back for that one.
That's what I'm saying. The
also,
original
I'm taking my first drink.
I've been drinking since we started.
Oh yes, we almost forgot. What are we drinking today, everyone?
I didn't know we were supposed to not.
No, I don't care. You can start drinking whenever. What are we drinking tonight, babe?
And mine's not as hard, but I don't feel like getting my rum, so.
What are you drinking?
Twisted tea, beer.
Cool.
All right.
I'm having my Evan Williams Kentucky Straight Bourbon Whiskey, straight. And Dan, what are you having?
Ooh. Dan Aykroyd's Crystal Head Vodka.
Where did you get that, by the way?
The liquor store down the street from me.
Discount.
Yeah.
Nice.
Whiskey helps the soul grow. Anyway, so I think... Shut up. So I think we should move on to our next topic here, which is sort of the evolution of slasher films. Going from, let's start with Black Christmas as our starting point here. Let's keep on topic with that. Okay. Black Christmas is what started these films, and then you had movies coming out left and right that either were holiday-based and then eventually just became, like, slasher films, like the classics, like, Nightmare on Elm Street, Friday the 13th, Leprechaun, things like that, And then when slasher films just sort of became a joke, and then the 90s reinvigorates them with Scream and stuff, like, what do you guys think of how far slasher films have gone and still have somehow survived to this day? Let's talk about that.
I mean, as I was referring to before, you get your good ones. The thing about with all horror films in general now is, like I said before, and this goes the same with slasher films, is they're basically template based now. There really isn't many original pieces or original concepts out there, but every once in a while you get that one that turns out to be a pretty good, one that you feel here's something that hasn't been done before. But in general, if you think about it, the idea of a horror film has changed as time progressed. It went from this very, like, grainy, just based off tech basis, very grainy idea of more suspenseful, I guess you can call it.
Like today's Hitchcock and Psycho and stuff like that.
to today's clear, crisp, very dark, high contrast, overly saturated jump scare,
And I think that's the problem sometimes whenever I watch a slasher film. Like, I feel like it's more of, like, the kill is a jump scare. It's not built up. It's just, like, in your face like that. You know what I mean? Like, that's something that I don't like about slasher films. Like,
yeah.
Like, for example, and babe, you probably could talk about this for hours. The Friday the 13th and the Freddy Krueger movies had a very
more Jason than Freddy, though.
Had a very sort of built-up way that they would do kills, and they were very creative, I feel like, with certain ways that they would...
wait. Let me elaborate on that if you're going to talk about my boy Fred like that.
Let's talk about the creativeness of the kills.
Respect my boy, first of all. Don't disrespect my boy.
No, I'm not.
Second of all, okay, all three... Okay, so if you take Freddy Krueger, Jason, and Michael Myers, okay, side by side. All three of them side by side. Freddy still stands out, even though those movies are extremely old to this day, but they still hold up because they're amazing, they're classics. But Freddy's way of killing people is totally different from the way Jason and Michael are. Jason and Michael just fucking appear and don't say a word. They're just like, hey, here's my knife. I go stab.
No, but I think, though, Myers has some creative skills.
Freddy does it in a completely different way because, again, he's a demon. So, case in point, He does all of these elaborate different ways to fuck with the person first to get psyche all fucked up so they don't when he's going to appear, and then he just appears in the most fucked up form of this person's mental psyche state / worst nightmare ever, and just goes, "I'm gonna kill your ass."
It sounds like it's similar to like It nowadays. I mean, look at the It chapter 1 and 2 movies. Like those films,
Tim Curry's still better. Don't at me.
No. I don't judge. I haven't really watched the original.
I am Team Tim Curry all fucking way.
But like, I mean, if you think about it, like the way you're describing it, it almost sounds like, and this is what happens with slasher films. I feel like even horror films that somewhat draw the line, or tread the line, I should say, between slasher and horror. Like, there's a lot of tropes that always somewhat carry over depending on the type of movie that you.
Yeah, but the thing with Freddy though is he gives back banter. Like if the people he like literally will be smart ass at the same time too. Like he'll literally come up with these like fucking like smart ass one-liner before he kills somebody, and then makes it funny. It makes it not only just gory but also fucking hilarious. It's like when he pops through it. Anybody didn't see it at this point, I'm sorry, but fucking it's that part of a movie. It was it. The part where he pops out of like a TV and he's like, "Welcome to prime time, bitch," and then he fucking kills the person. He just came up with these catchy one-liners as a smartass before he killed them. Like he gave it personality. He gave killing a personality.
Well, I think
you got Jason and fucking Michael over here, fucking just standing out in the bushes like a fucking peeping Tom, and is like.
Well, I feel like
Now, don't be hating on my homie Michael now.
I feel like to the extent of
I'm trying to. It's just Jason and Michael follow the same exact formula of killing. Well, Freddy.
Well, yeah, I mean, I know that, but let's just also remember. I'll get into this later when we get to it. Just remember how many movies my homie Mike had.
To be fair, Friday the 13th still has more.
Does it?
I know, but Jason can.
Actually, you know, I think there's one that beats out
we
everybody.
looked it up one time. Remember?
Doesn't Chucky have the most?
Like 8.
Doesn't Chucky have the most? Chucky has the most. I think.
No, Jason has the most.
Really?
How many movies do they have?
Okay, so Freddy has like I think 6 or 7. Michael, I think 9 or 8 or 9 possibly.
No. 10. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, actually, now that I think about it, which Halloween movies do you try to remember? Was Michael not in?
All of them in general.
It was Halloween Season of the Witch.
Whatever.
That was the only one. Okay.
He still had like a good chunk of them. Chucky only has, I think, like 6.
No, he's got like 8 now at this
point. No, we don't count the remake because that's a remake of the original.
No. I'm talking about just strictly the original timeline.
Yeah, I know. I'm telling you. That's excluding the remake. Chucky has nowhere near the amount that Jason does. Jason has the most. Jason has like 11.
Jason
has 11?
Almost. 2, he's got like 9 or 10, possibly 11.
7, 8.
I have all of them on DVD except for like 4 of them.
There are 12 Halloween movies.
Really?
Including the most recent one coming out in 2020.
We're not counting those 2 because those are remakes. So we're not counting. I'm not counting remakes. I'm trying not to count remakes.
Oh shit.
Good job.
Alright, so getting back on topic though, even
Jason still comes out on top, I think, with the most. Not like a close second.
Not the point right now. So I think I feel like even with staying on the topic of not Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street, even those movies have evolved and devolved a lot over the course of their run. Like, for example, like if you look at the original Nightmare on Elm Street,
I will shoot you.
No. In all seriousness, it's more of a horror film than it is a like witty sort of thing. Like there aren't that many one-liners in the original film. Like I mean, there's some personality that exists, but it comes in the form of the second and the third movie specifically, and as it carries on, it sort of dwindles away.
There's New Nightmare too. New Nightmare, he adds a fuck ton more personality because he's in the real world. Yeah. So he adds more to the character
and
itself.
And it becomes less
in the dream world. He's in the real world.
Until you get to like.
And Robert Englund is my boy. I love that guy.
Until we get to, let's say, Freddy vs. Jason, which probably is the pinnacle.
Oh my god, that's my favorite movie ever.
It's the pinnacle of what a real sort of slasher versus film is, honestly, and that's one of the only ones, honestly, that's in existence.
I love that movie so much. It's so good.
But looking at that sort of brings the character more full circle than, let's say, like New Nightmare or even Freddy's Dead, because Freddy's Dead doesn't really do a lot for the character, and it devolves the character, I feel like. The same can be said about Halloween movies, let's say, for example. In the original movie, depending on what timeline you follow at this point, it really doesn't matter at this point.
I don't really think the only ones that matter, I think, is like the first two films.
No, it's the first one and the new one. That's honestly the important timeline. But the point though, and Dan, jump on anytime you want here. The Halloween movies sort of do something similar to how, and I feel like it's every slasher series that does it. It always will try to find a way to reinvent itself after a couple of movies in the form of either a reboot or changing somewhat how the personality of the killer is. And I feel like that can either help or hinder a franchise. I mean, the longevity of a character, I think probably the best one that can reinvent itself always is Child's Play, because Child's Play can be still a comedy and a horror, and I feel like it even went back on itself, and it did in Cult of Chucky and Curse of Chucky. It honestly goes back to its roots, and it sort of reboots on itself.
I just like the child in Curse of Chucky because he's fucking cute. I just want to give him a hug.
I don't remember who the child is, but
that's the fifth one. The child of Chucky. Remember, it's the little.
That's Seed of Chucky. That's
like, I just want to be loved by you.
That's just Seed of Chucky. That's Seed of Chucky. But
What? Cute. I love it.
Just to reiterate for one quick second, because I did more research into it. If we're going off of that and we're not counting remakes, then there are 11 original Halloween movies.
Yeah, I figured.
Because the 2018 one technically wasn't a remake. That was an expansion.
It's a direct sequel, to the original one.
Yeah, that's what they said when they made it.
Which I feel like
They should have just left it at that, to be honest. The 2021 should not even be happening. Like, they should have just left it.
No, I feel like
is 2020 a remake, or is that a...
No, that's a sequel to... It's a sequel.
It's a sequel to the 2019 one. That's what they're saying.
Yes, that's what this says.
So we can jump topics here a little bit here. We can come back to this.
Well, another thing I was gonna add too was like all those other horror movies that go off the radar, like the underrated ones. Like I could name a couple that are really good that barely anybody remembers or that people don't really know about. Like one of my classics, 13 Ghosts. That's a good one.
Well, that's not really. That's not a it's not a slasher film specifically. That's sort of
research it, Dan. Yes, it is.
No, it's not. I wouldn't really define that as a slasher film.
Yeah, it kind of is. It's just doing it in a different way, but it's a good one, though.
Well, format aside, it's not what we're. It's not specifically.
Here's another slasher film that you forgot about: Candyman.
Oh, I never watched Candyman. That's why I didn't want to.
But you can still put it in there because
Candyman again is one of those movies that can reinvent itself, honestly, and that's really good. Honestly, when a series can reinvent itself and still stay fresh without sacrificing the integral part of a character, that's what's important, is when you don't sacrifice anything for the characters. Even going back to like old school slasher films, such as Dan probably could go on about this for a while because he's a film student as well. You could talk. Psycho is a movie that definitely has the ability. That movie is able to create a very suspenseful sort of slasher film atmosphere. Again, not really a slasher film. That's more of a horror film.
And Psycho also like the most parodied fucking movie.
That is very.
Definitely 100%.
It's the most memed movie I think ever.
But the sequel and its third movie are two that carry on the legacy of the character, I feel like, but they also are able to somewhat tell a different story and expand upon the characters, which is what you want to do with your character that's a slasher. I mean, don't get me wrong, sometimes it's better to have just a faceless person going around and stabbing people repeatedly. Like that, sometimes that's good. I
forgot about American Psycho. That's a perfect example too.
Well, we don't need to keep naming examples. I think the point's across here.
No, I'm saying like that's another one you guys that you could put in there too. You know, the one with Christian Bale. You put one in there too.
But I feel like with
kills Jared Leto. Best scene.
with the evolution of slasher films over the years, I feel like it's gone from being. It starts as this sort of, like Dan said, this very suspenseful driven film where the kills are very limited, but the impact that they have are much more felt. And then you have sort of the 1980s sort of slasher films where there's a specific character and there are these over-the-top kills. And then you've got something like the 90s films where it's something like Scream, where it's more of a parody on itself, but it still tells a different sort of story than, say, like...
Yeah, it all kind of does depend, like, what could make a good horror movie. It all depends on different factors, you know?
Yeah.
Where it's like, how often do they space out the killings? Like, are they constant, or are they just spaced out?
And I feel like...
is the killer making it interesting? Like, is he killing them in very creative, intricate ways, or is he just fucking stabbing them to death, or...
And I think that's something that's lost nowadays. Like, a perfect example.
Kill people fucking underworld style, where they just fucking spread a virus everywhere. I don't fucking know.
Yeah, well, here's a prime example, and then Pete, I want music over this. So, prime example is
you're not getting that.
Like if you're going off of just suspense, it started now, and then you know something about to happen, right? And then you're like on the edge of your seat. Like, don't you dare go to that room. You know the fucker's in there, but you're going in there anyway. And then then bitch is dead, right? And nowadays when it's just focused on the fucking it's just focused on the jump scare factor. The bitch is opening the closet, and she's just like, I'm just gonna go to bed, and then he just sits for a while, and then it just comes out of the blue, just,
Yeah.
I feel like the...
yeah, just like that.
Okay,
It comes out just
Alright, I need a drink after that one. Alright, let's do this. Woo!
Just like that. That's how it works. Prime example right there.
Woo! That's funny. Wow, Pete, you can't handle her worth of shit.
I can handle my liquor, though. Anyway, though.
Debatable. But
fuck
okay.
you never drank with me yet.
It doesn't matter. Your girlfriend's an alcoholic. Hello.
Was she there for your birthday when you had drinks at the golf course?
It's not.
Yeah, you couldn't even finish your beer, bro.
Does beer taste like shit?
Yeah, debatable. Depends on which one.
Tastes like garbage. Anyway, though, I feel like a perfect example nowadays, the slasher genre, I feel like it's a sort of hit or miss. Like Marissa said, it's a hit or miss depending on if the film does well or not. Like, I feel like something like Hellfest is something that really misses the point of what a slasher film is.
You're just not gonna let that one go, are you?
Because it develops a very...
Okay!
No,
fuck off!
No, it was bad. It was bad. I'm sorry to say. It was...
You!
It was very bad. But the point is, it develops the character section of it very well, but the killer we spend a very limited amount of time with, and there's no real motivation, which I feel like a killer needs something. It needs something to be able to exist.
No, it doesn't. Michael Myers... Well, no, he had a motive.
Yeah, Michael Myers had a very big motive.
To be fair, Ghostface didn't have a motive.
Oh, no, he had a motive. Fucking, what's his face? Billy there, his mother slept with his mother, or his father or something, and then she broke his heart. So he wants revenge.
Are you
so
trying
they ended up
to
killing him.
Lesbians now? Or are you trying to?
No, I got it wrong. Shut up. I got it wrong. No.
Yeah, the thing about Ghostface is whenever you hear Ghostface, the thing that immediately pops in my head is a phone call. Fucking, I see you taking a dump, Sydney. That's the first thing.
You're gonna bring up the scary movie thing where he's like,
I could. What's up?
What's up?
But I feel like with Scream, and I don't. We got a very mixed topic here, really quickly.
Well, that's what makes a podcast a good podcast.
Yeah, that's the whole point of a podcast. They're not scripted, you dingus.
That's true.
Like you can segue into something just like this. Like I was browsing podcasts the other day, and I found out that Markiplier was on the Rooster Teeth podcast. Okay, go on.
Really?
Anyway.
Recently?
Yeah, he was.
Continuing on though with how
he gave away his Tesla code. his Tesla reference code. What was the Tesla reference code? It was something 202.
I don't really care about Markiplier's Tesla code.
Okay, back to the
Let's come back to slashers for a moment. So I feel like though nowadays it's like it is a hit or miss sort of thing. I feel like that's the problem. Like,
but then there's some horror movies in general though cross.
I don't want to talk about those specific horror films. Like
there's just some movies that cross a lot of lines in general. Like, you know, like sometimes they just take one thing like a little too far, and then you're like, it doesn't really make the movie that much enjoyable anymore.
Like Don't Breathe. That's
I was literally just about to say that.
So Don't Breathe. Dan, in case you're curious here, it takes a.
Well, wait. Disclaimer for anybody.
It's 2019. I don't really care.
Shut up. I'm saying if you are triggered by the following statement that's going to come out of our mouths, please don't listen for the next however long the sentence goes on for.
So Don't Breathe takes this very simple idea. What if you broke into someone's house and they were like military trained and they were blind, and all they did was use sound to be able to like catch you, and that man murdered one of your friends. Actually, two of your friends. And
it was one first, and then he murdered the other one after.
Whatever. He murders two of them. That's the whole point. But that movie does something fantastic with storytelling. It creates very much large amounts of suspense, and then it 2010s it up, and it just decides to be like, hey, let me inject my sperm into a turkey baster and then squirt it in you, and then you can have my child because my daughter died a couple years ago or some shit. It's very weird. Very weird. And that's the problem I feel like with slasher films, is sometimes they'll do something really, really, really good, and then they'll just be like, let me just 2010 it up.
I mean, you think they would at least do it the fun way.
But it's like, the problem is then when slasher films throw twists and they mix genres in, like, that's a problem that I have with films sometimes.
Right.
Like, that's your problem. That's the problem.
Yeah, seriously.
Not this deranged man that wanted to bring back another part of his offspring, so he's injecting the things that broke into his house with a turkey baster full of his sperm because he can't cope with the loss of his child. So he's like, let me just take it out on this thief that broke into my fucking house.
Well, yeah, and that's the problem. Why does that need to be a part of the movie? Why do these things... Like,
they didn't talk about it before that even. Like, none of that was ever mentioned. Just that part, like, before that, none of the stuff about his kid or whatever being killed, like, they mentioned it briefly, but it was only for, like, a second. And why? Like, they didn't go into depth with it, and then they just hit you with that scene near the end, and you're just like, why? Why?
And why at the end of Hellfest is he just bringing home his daughter a bunny? Like, what's the point of that? Like, it's just certain things about modern-day slasher films.
That part was very confusing. I was very confused.
Modern-day slashers, I feel like, sometimes don't know how to end their properties in a good way, and either it kills the story that could have been having a lot of potential, or...
I think they experiment because they don't know if they're going to do a sequel or not, you know what I mean? Like, for example, Happy Death Day. Happy Death Day, they didn't know if that was going to be a fucking sequel.
That's a movie that's very innovative. Happy Death Day, I feel like, was a very innovative slasher film.
Yeah,
the second one makes it very different, and it does do something different, and I feel like it works.
No, it doesn't! All it does is it tells the same fucking story through a different person!
Well, I don't know. I feel like it's still a fun movie. It's a fun movie.
It was like, hey, take the same movie, but plot twist, we're gonna make it the guy's friend instead of the main character again. We're just gonna make it about the main character's friend. Done.
Well, no, it was still about a tree. The movie was still focused
not really.
The movie was 100% focused on Tree.
Yeah, but if they were just gonna make it about Tree again, why did they even say it was gonna about the guy's friend in the first fucking place? What was the point?
It's part of the trailer. It's part of the marketing.
Just make Tree the main character again. That's my point.
Marketing, babe. It's marketing.
Marketing of what? Then they're marketing for that movie.
Exactly.
Stupid.
Exactly the point. People don't know how to market slasher films, and that's what makes me worry.
Yeah, because slasher films follow the same basic fucking formula.
And you have to find ways to mix it up. Halloween, a perfect example. And let's talk about this for a moment here. Halloween, honestly, the new movie. Dan, have you seen the new movie before we don't let you talk for another 20 minutes here?
Yeah, I have. Yes, okay. I have.
Okay, I'm just making sure. I don't want to.
I'm just a co-host. I'm gonna just sit here and go,
mean, at least like it'll be spoiler free that we're talking about this, though, so it's not like
spoiler free. We're gonna talk about the movie. So I feel like with Halloween, has evolved, and Dan, cut in at any moment here because I know you're the best at Halloween here. I don't know anybody else that is. Halloween started off as this very simple, very low budget movie that nobody expected was going to be good. The sequel, something that I feel like people consider a classic, honestly, because it takes what the original movie did and builds upon the world. It expands upon the characters, and I feel like it does really good. Season of the Witch, the third movie, just exists. We don't talk about it. It's different. And then The Return of Michael Myers, I feel like it's not bad, but I feel like taking out Jamie Lee Curtis's character really dampens the story, I feel like. Because I feel like the whole point of those movies was the relationship between the relationship between Michael Myers and Laurie Strode. And Dan, what do you think of the Halloween? Do you think it has evolved in a good way?
It definitely has. The way I look at Halloween is it's like the Star Wars of horror films, because it had a very successcul reboot, add on to the original trilogy of Halloween, the 2018 one. Okay. We're not bringing up the Rob Zombie one.
I thought you were talking about H2O. Honestly, I thought you were talking about H2O.
No, we're talking about the 2018 John Carpenter Halloween. Successfully built. It's the equivalent of Star Wars Episode 7, I would say. To successfully add on to the original trilogy. And yes, you're right. It is literally the whole motive of Michael is Laurie. So when he thinks that Laurie is dead, you have to realize his other motive was, I heard you talking about the Return of Michael Myers.
He's to kill his family, right? Like that's
his motive is to kill his entire bloodline. So when he finds out that Laurie had I'm trying to remember what that was.
They said that Laurie was dead in the Return of Michael Myers, and the Curse of Michael Myers, I think, is the next one, and it's like
wasn't that the one with the niece or something?
Yeah, it's the niece, and she has like psychic powers.
Niece. That's why he starts going after the niece, because that's added on bloodline. See, he finds out that he is the uncle to this child, which I feel really bad as a terrible Michael Myers fan for not remembering the child's name. But
Jamie, I think it's Jamie.
No, it's not Jamie. That's fucking Jamie Lee Curtis. That's
no. I think she's right. Let me double check this.
I think her name is Jamie because I did watch that movie, but it's been a while.
Myers.
I think her name is Jamie.
I feel like the biggest problem with
I think they did that intentionally.
I feel like the biggest
yes, Jamie Lloyd is the niece of Michael Myers.
I've never watched them. I've only seen 2 of them.
To be fair, that one was like okay, but it wasn't shit. You know?
Yeah, it was decent. I'll give it that.
It wasn't bad, but it wasn't great. You know?
I think the 4th one is the first one I saw, and then I watched the rest of them in sequence.
Yeah, same. Well, no, that's not true. But yeah.
Same, but
completely skipping the ones that did not have Michael as a character.
It's just
I didn't understand why they did that.
Well, the reason that they wanted to do Season of the Witch the way they did was because Michael Myers wasn't supposed to be the antagonist of the movies. They wanted to do this anthology sort of thing, like how American Horror Story does a different story.
Really stupid, and I don't know why they thought that was.
And that's why they quickly went back into production to make the Return of Michael Myers, because there was such an outrage from the fans over Halloween 3 that the producers knew they fucked up. So they probably knew they fucked up while they were making the movie. Like, this is gonna flop, and then it flopped. And if you look at the span between the 2 movies, you'll realize how short they were. Let me pull this back up again.
You mean budget-wise? Oh yeah, you could totally tell.
No. He's talking about like the release schedule.
The release schedule.
Were they that close together?
I think they were pretty close together.
Really? Oh no, wait. I think you're right.
So you had 1978 to 1981. That's the difference between Halloween.
That's
the difference between the first 2 Halloweens. Now we go to Season of the Witch. That was released at 82, and then in '88 they
You
released The
serious?
Return of Michael Myers.
Oh no, that's okay. A 6-year difference. Well, okay, for the first 2 movies, that's completely.
Well, that
understandable
explains
because
why
they're
Season
sequels.
of the Witch was crap, because they made it in less than a year. Like,
Well, again, it's because they wanted to do something different.
And
which
then
I
the
think
very
is fine.
next year, they made 5, The Revenge of Michael Myers.
I mean,
And
that
then
was okay.
1989 to 1995, that's the difference between Revenge and Curse.
Oh, yeah.
See, that's too big of a gap. I feel like if you're going to do a continuous story, I feel like the problem that
No,
Michael
1982 and 1988. That's a pretty big fucking gap.
I feel like the big problem that Michael Myers suffers from is how long of a time I feel like he gets his sequels. Like you said, that's a pretty fucking huge gap, honestly, for a Michael Myers film that were coming out like every other year at that point, pretty much.
Yeah, and then this is so we'll count Cursed as like the last official.
Well, you gotta look at it this way, too. It took them so long because it was probably hard to get a lot of budgeting for that film because the previous movie flopped so badly.
Exactly.
They probably were having so much trouble getting a fucking movie company to, like, give them budget to...
Well, when you hear, hey, we're bringing back Michael Myers, everyone's going to give you your fucking money.
No, not necessarily, because you gotta look at it from a company standpoint. They saw that the previous one did god-awful,
But
and
then
it made like little to no money.
But
So
two
they were
did-
like, why the fuck should we fund you to do another one
Because
after you made this pile of crap?
because the first 2 did well, and if you're
Mercy,
going
you'd
back
be
to...
a meeting producer.
Oh, yeah,
Thank
Mercy
you.
would be great.
Thanks.
Yeah,
So
but-
moving on, so we'll consider the Curse of Michael Myers as like the last official John Carpenter one, and then we'll move. And then 1995, that was when the Curse of Michael Myers released. Then we moved to 1998 when Halloween H2O releases,
Oh yeah.
which was the whole 20 years later thing.
But wasn't that a series though? That wasn't a movie, right? Wasn't
No,
that
that was a movie. That was a movie.
It was a movie.
I thought it was a
H2O.
movie, like a TV series though.
H2O is essentially like what the 2018
Oh wait, no,
movie
they
is.
made it into my bad. They made it into a show after that, I think.
No. That's the plot of the next movie is that it becomes a TV show, and they
I
have
thought
to
it
start
was
the
an actual show this whole time. Like somebody was like, "Oh, it's a show."
No.
No, I'll say what Pete's talking about. So from 1998 to 2002, we get Halloween Resurrection, where they do a TV show in Michael Myers' home, not knowing that he's still there. And then
Which is
all
then-
hell breaks
a
loose.
really
It was a
stupid
pretty
plot.
interesting plot. It obviously has no
Oh.
affiliate with the original.
Yeah,
No, it does. No,
Can you
it does.
imagine how that went down though? Like, they're like shooting it, and then Michael appears like.
Yeah, he starts killing people.
Isn't it like
Look, and you're like, the fuck am I you doing in my house?
Isn't it like when they do H2O? It's like it goes in the sequence of 1, 2, H2O, and then Resurrection, right? Like that's the second timeline of the Michael Myers series.
I think.
So, I think that's how they did it. I think that's how they're doing
See,
it.
that's the other confusing thing about Michael Myers that I hate.
Well, they
It's
asked
that-
Rob Zombie the same question, and he was like, they did an interview with Rob Zombie, and he was even trying to piece it together, I think, too.
Yeah. From 2002, we hit 2007, the whole thing that Rob Zombie did.
I mean, it wasn't bad, but it was like,
Eh.
it was okay.
And from 2007, we go to 2009, which has the Halloween 2 remake.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
2009, we jump all the way to 2018, where John Carpenter jumps back in the seat and
Our boy
releases
Carpenter.
Halloween.
That's our boy.
Donna.
And now,
Donna.
that was 2018. Now 2020 awaits for Halloween Kills.
Okay, so I want to talk about Halloween Kills actually. So Halloween Kills is doing something very unique with the franchise. It's exploring the after effects of, let's say there's this serial killer that comes around and just terrorizes your town and just murders people. Like, it explores the effects of that has on people. Like, it's bringing back the original characters, like the little kids that Laurie's babysitting in the original movie. They bring
Oh,
them
basically,
back.
you're trying to say they're doing it from a survivor perspective?
Well, yeah, it shows how the characters are dealing with the mental instability. That, like, you know how Laurie Strode was like.
I mean, if we're gonna be honest, those kids are probably gonna end up like fucking Laurie Strode did in the 2019 version.
Exactly, and that's
All
what
of
this movie.
their houses are decked out with fucking machine guns and fucking booby traps. And they're like, "I'm ready for you, motherfucker. Let's go."
Well, Halloween Kills 2020 is directed by David Gordon Green, and it's written by John Carpenter, the man, the legend.
Hey!
And the stars of this movie include Jamie Lee Curtis, Judy Greer, Anthony Michael Hall.
Yes.
The top three characters in the cast is Laurie Strode, Karen, and Tommy Doyle.
Yes.
So the storyline is like a one-sentence storyline they have on IMDb. The saga of Michael Myers and Laurie Strode continues in the next of the Halloween movies.
I remember when I first saw like the original Halloween that had Jamie Lee Curtis in it. Everybody was like saying, "Well, they're not related. She was just a babysitter." And I was like,
in the new one, yeah, that's the case.
Yeah, well, that's what I thought, because as the movies went along, they were like trying to say, "Oh no, they're related." First, they were like, "No, she's just a babysitter, and she just had
here's
at the wrong place at the wrong time."
Well, here's how it goes. In the second movie, you find out that they're related, and then H2O, he's going after her again because he finds out that she's alive, and then she thinks that she kills him, but he actually kills her. And then because they're related still, but the bloodline thing's gone, where he has to murder his family or some shit. That shit goes out the window, and then you've got the reboot where you find out in the second movie that they're related, and
Weren't
then you
they
find out
trying to explore the theory that he's like immortal because like he just keeps coming back?
That's all the other movies. Then this one.
Are you sure? Because in every movie that they've made, that guy never fucking ages.
No, he ages. In the new one, he aged a lot.
Yeah, in the new one,
he aged 40 fucking years.
The thing with Michael Myers is, I mean, he doesn't seem to age, but every single movie, his mask is different. It has quite
really
subtle
dumb.
differences.
It really makes me annoyed.
And then when we get to the most recent ones, he's got the wear and tear on it. Like,
well, you want to know why? They did that because it's paying homage to the first one. Fun fact for anybody that doesn't know this: the mask that they used for Michael Myers in the original Halloween, because his mask has changed over the years, but the original one with Jamie Lee Curtis, that mask is a mold of William Shatner's face.
Yes, babe. I feel like everybody knows that at this point.
No, some people still don't. Some people don't know that.
Really?
Yeah, there's still some people that don't know that. So for anybody,
my homie William Shatner.
So for anybody that didn't know that, you're welcome.
Live long and murder.
Well, look at it this way. Now they can't unsee it. So every time you look at Michael Myers, you're going to see William Shatner's face.
I hope that for this new sequel, they don't end up doing the thing where they change his mask 14,000 fucking times. Like, I really hope they just...
The 2019 one, they paid homage to the original, so they might keep it that way.
Even Nick Castle made an appearance in the new one, which is amazing. I love Nick Castle.
Because he was the original one!
You don't need to scream. I know that.
God damn it!
I'm going to send a picture into our little Discord podcast chat. If you'd like, you can add this in post in the thing.
Add it in post, Dan.
Dude, you gotta do this to make podcast. This is every single mask for every Halloween movie.
Yeah, pretty much.
All the differences.
Yep. There's so many of them. Wait, how many is there? Wait, 1, 2...
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9,
11.
10, 11, 12, 13. 13 masks.
Oh, well, I just counted.
They also look pretty good.
I've seen 13. There's only 12.
No, it's the one, there.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
There's 12.
Oh, yeah, there is 12.
You guys don't want to fucking count.
And then we look at this one from Resurrection.
Oh, Jesus Christ!
This was the one that got criticism.
Shut up.
Because I think that was like the first time where you could see the eyes through the eye holes.
Shut up.
Like before that.
Shut up.
Before that, you really couldn't see.
Shut up.
Hey, this is valuable information,
this
sir.
This is fucking disgusting. That's what this is.
I know where this screenshot's from. That's what makes this funny.
It's disgusting. Disgusting.
You're saying that even though you're shitting on your own fucking game right now.
I never... What?
That's a screenshot from Dead by Daylight.
No, it's not.
Yeah, it is.
In the game, he doesn't have eyes either.
Uh-huh.
No, he's blackened in the eyes.
Yeah.
I know my game. It's based on the original movie. It's not based on the fucking shitty reboot.
Okay. Yeah, it is.
It's not.
I mean, to be fair, I don't know why they thought it was a good idea to not black out the eye hole.
Oh, hey, my socks are inside out.
Wow, okay.
Just saw that share, guys.
You know what? Fuck you. Oh, everybody, welcome to our podcast. Because we all
right.
love this channel. Fuck you. We all know it's me. Everybody loves me, not you.
Anyway. I think it's time. We can answer some of the questions that we have from when we ask questions around October here. We got 3 questions here.
There's only 3 in the Q&A? Wow.
There's only 3, yeah.
Wow, guys, we love you too. Thanks.
Well, thanks for giving us fucking questions, people.
That's because I wasn't...
In my defense, I didn't really push it too much. I only push it once.
Why would you not? We
don't need 4,000 questions. We don't need 4,000.
Yes, we do. It's what made it. Fuck you. Okay, Judge Preacher asks, what was...
Do you not know how podcasts work at all? Do you have any
idea? What was
idea?
Halloween like growing up?
Yeah,
Great question, Preacher. So Halloween, for me, was always very fun.
I like to have a YouTuber that doesn't know how to promo his own shit. Oh, yeah.
I'll fucking hang up on you, I swear. Anyway.
Do it. I dare you. Everybody loves me.
Halloween, though, was this fun and interesting time, always. We would always go out, and we would always go to, like, the rich neighborhoods, because we were poor. I didn't know at the time we were poor, but we were poor. And we would go to the rich people neighborhoods, and they would give us, like, the big-ass chocolate bars. I didn't eat candy, but I just liked going out and just, walking around and scaring people and wearing spooky costumes and stuff. That was what Halloween was to me. I always just liked dressing up and shit.
I liked hunting for ghosts.
Halloween for me.
I was waiting. I'm like, Dan, go ahead whenever you're ready, man.
So Halloween for me is like it wasn't something I really got into right away. Like, I didn't start wearing actual spooky costumes and shit until middle school.
Really?
Before, in elementary school, I was a doctor every year. I had like a phobia of wearing masks. I don't know why.
So are you a doctor and I'm sick?
I mean, to be fair, I get it. I stopped trick-or-treating when I was like 12.
No, I stopped trick-or-treating until the day I turned 18. I don't really give a shit.
Don't at me for whoever watches this. Yeah, stupid. When I turned, I don't want to do it anymore.
And I live in a very small neighborhood. It's a dead-end street that only consists of like 5 or 6 houses. And there really aren't any other kids here, so we would go to another neighborhood. We would go to the nearby village in my town and
trick. The nearby village. What are we in Scotland?
Dude, that's what it's called, the village. That's what you call the fucking original of your town is the village.
What, the village of Avengers you're talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah. Figured.
Next question here we've got. What was your favorite costume of all time? And let's not just limit that to Halloween. Let's talk about that in general. Like, what's the favorite cosplay that we've ever done in our lifetimes?
I mean...
Cosplay, so...
if it was one that I've done, I would say... I would say Joker. I've done Joker before, and I had a lot of fun doing that. But right now I'm working on the Broadway version of Beetlejuice. That's what I'm trying to do. I'm gonna go to Comic-Con this year as Beetlejuice.
Here's the question: how committed are you? Are you gonna actually wear? Yes. Are you gonna wear a wig?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
I'm gonna go fully committed on this one. I'm gonna fucking put the green on my beard and shit and everything, and I'm gonna go a step further and admit. Because if you ever watch videos of Alex Brightman and the rest of the Beetlejuice cast being fucking meme legends, you'll know he has a little sub-character when he's in Beetle costume where he drinks iced tea and he bullies the people in the dressing room. So he'll walk in drinking his iced tea. Sup, nerds? What's the nerds room? And I'll just do that. I'll go to Comic-Con drinking iced tea dressed as Beetlejuice calling everyone a nerd.
God damn it. I need a cosplay this year.
What cosplay do you remember enjoying, babe?
I mean, I have to go by costumes because I don't really cosplay.
Well, yeah, costume.
I mean, I would probably have to say Freddy Krueger.
Nice.
Probably the best one.
For me, I liked my Jason cosplay, I feel like I did a pretty good job on that. I did the one for Mortal Kombat X, and I really feel like that one turned out well.
Oh, you're not gonna talk about all the other costumes you do where you tight spandex? No, just.
I think my Deathstroke cosplay was good, but I don't think it was as good as that. I think my worst ever costume that I ever did was Hollow Ichigo from Bleach, because I handmade the costume. I don't think the costume, like the actual the shihakusho part.
Sheet.
Hmm?
Weren't you just wearing a bed sheet?
No. We got actual fabric, and my mom helped me sew it together and stuff. And the shihakusho part wasn't bad. I just think my face and.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say the worst one that you had was the Flash.
We don't talk about that one. That one was. that was awful. That was awful.
That was terrible.
And I think to end this out, let's talk about which slasher film would you guys say is your favorite and just let's do favorites because I can't think of a least favorite.
Yeah.
So, babe, you want to start?
You already know.
Nightmare on Elm Street.
I'm the fucking man. You already know.
Dan, what
she's
about
practically in love with Freddy Krueger.
You don't understand, okay? I met Robert Englund and nearly cried.
I mean, I'd say the Halloween franchise. It's pretty obvious. That's my favorite slasher.
Any particular one in particular?
I would originally say Halloween 4, but I really grew fond of the 2018 one.
Oh, for being specific, then I choose Dream Warriors, Nightmare on Elm Street 3. Dream Warriors.
For me, I think it was the original Scream. I think there's something about that film that really...
You were going to say that.
It really nails down a good slasher film and a good start to a good series, honestly. I feel like Scream is something that I think was pretty fun as a film.
True.
And I definitely enjoy the fucking reporter and the cop. I like that dynamic.
Oh, you mean Courtney Cox and whatever the fuck the other guy's name was?
Yeah, I don't remember who it is. I think that's a good way to wrap this up, though, guys. Thank you all so much for watching this episode of the Subspace Station podcast. We hope that you did enjoy this. Thank you to our guest for this episode, my lovely girlfriend Marissa. Once again, if you guys want to follow her on anything, links will be in the description of her. Thank you once again to Dan for helping me with this episode as a co-host, as always.
Follow me, I need clout.
And this has been the Subspace Podcast, guys. We hope you all did enjoy. And as always, we will see you all next time. And if you guys have any suggestions for next month, or next episode's topics, I should say at this point.
Next millennium.
And whatever you do, don't get warped through the space station trash compactor. We had an accident. That's not fun. We don't like cleaning up the mess.
That'd be fun.
No. But anyway, though, guys, thank you all so much for watching. If you did enjoy it, like, and if you want to see more, subscribe, comment, all that other good stuff. And we will see you all next time. Bye-bye!